Greetings and welcome to the channel Northworthy. Now in this video today we're going to talk about these three helmets in a little bit more detail than we normally would do. And I do love a good Viking and Saxon helmet. So first of all we have the one on the left, which is more Saxon inspired. And I must say that it's a very nice helmet. And let's turn it around. You can see the side view of it. Sorry, probably not the best angle in the world. And this helmet is actually made in America. And it's one of the only helmets I have which is American made. And now and again, very rarely, I do see this helmet for sale on eBay. So it is probably produced in quite a few numbers. And again, it's a very nice and lovely helmet. The top section over the top is hollow. Would that be true back in the time? I don't know. I would imagine it would be more solid in construction, as this section here would be cast. But that's okay because it's a reenactment combat helmet rather than a display helmet. What I like about it is the animal motive and the nice eyebrows, which just adds that extra effect. I don't know how much I paid for it now. I bought this from the legendary and our first channel host, Tyrkir Thorkelson. You always got to say Tyrkir's name with a bit of force. Tyrkir Thorkelson. Oh yes, no, Tyrkir Thorkelson. Yes, it's the way he speaks. But I do think and find it to be a wonderful, fascinating helmet. And the only downside about this helmet is, and I'll demonstrate this in a second. So the downside of this helmet is at the moment, is that when you put it on your head, this front face section is a little bit tight on your face. And I've had to pack it out because it also sits too low down on your face and it actually needs a bit more work. And whether it needs a new inside internal section making to suit it better than the current one, I don't know. I probably will leave this in. If I had the time, the money and the resources, I'll probably do a whole new entire structure inside. But let's put this helmet on. Because it has chin straps, which is very useful in a helmet. You definitely need good chin straps. Because when you're running along in battle, the one thing you don't want is the helmet to fall off. Because that would be a disaster. So, as I say, when I do a side view, it's just slightly sitting on my face a bit too tight because I can feel it squashing onto my nose. But then you definitely need to wear a good gambeson with this helmet and mail, because these back plates on the back of the helmet also are a little bit awkward and you're not wearing a bit of protection. I can definitely feel it in this t-shirt. And like I said, it's not quite worked out. It's a bit loose on my head. So whether I could do the chin strap a bit better. But what I need to do as I take it off is to put the helmet on my anvil and just knock forward the face plate so it's not so tight on my head. And I must say, it is a very nice helmet. Very well constructed as well. I've not really had a close look inside to see what it looks like. I've got a messy hair now. Whenever you take a helmet off on camera, you always end up with messy hair. You know. Oh. But yeah, I think that's just spectacular. I don't know why Graham sold it really. Tyrkir, that's his real name, Graham. I hope he's okay. If anybody from Derby knows Graham, can you just let him know that I've lost his mobile number, so I can't actually send him a text to see how he is, and invite him to come over and do some filming, which I would love to do again. So yes, that's the first helmet. But what do you think, guys? I'll give you a bit of a closer look. So we've already seen the first helmet. Next we'll talk about the helmet which I bought on eBay. I think it was round about £35. And it's this one here. It's slightly rusty at the moment at the top. You can see it needs a bit of a clean. As always, there's never enough time to do these jobs. And this is the helmet which I bought for Anglo-Saxon. Again, let's put this helmet on and see what it looks like on my head. So here's the helmet. I'm in my conservatory. Now one thing it does has is a very nice buckle. In fact the buckle needs a good polish and a good clean. It's gone a bit green, so it's probably copper or brass. And I do think when you get a helmet that's got a very nice buckle, you know it's a good helmet. Again, it's got a more of a modern internal system for your head, and I've had to put a little bit of material inside behind it, in between the layer of the leather and the top of the helmet, just to pack it out a little bit. And it's a bit big for my head, to be fair. It was designed to wear on Eggle's head. I think that Eggle must have had a larger head than me. And don't forget, he was the eye candy of the channel. And we very recently did a poll about this helmet, whether the nasal piece here is too long. Can a nasal piece be too long? Well, if it was down here, then yes. Whether it's just too long with this on my nose, I don't know. I think one of the funny comments was saying that well, at some point your nose will grow out for it. Well, funny when you get old, your nose gets bigger. When you see old people and they've got big bulbous noses. But again, side view. Again, it's like I said, it needs packing out and it's a bit too large for my head because I can get my fingers up the side. I think that's always a good indication that if you can get your fingers up the side, you know the helmet's just slightly too large for you. And I think I can't stress enough in videos that when you go and buy a helmet, the best way of buying a helmet is to go to a trading show, one of these big shows when they've got all these traders, or you know, like the Jorvik Festival, there's bound to be loads there, and actually try a few helmets on and get one which suits you best. Of course, when you buy things off eBay or any other site, you can't try the helmet on before you buy. You can't exactly send the helmet back saying, oh no, it's too large for my head, mate, because I think the seller would be very annoyed. So, but there are ways, there are solutions to this. Number one, you could wear a woolen hat underneath, and that would pat the helmet out and make it sturdy on your head. Because let's face it, there you were, there's old Eirik or old Braggy the Viking or Eggle, and you're going into battle and you don't have a helmet and somebody gives you one. But you're not going to refuse a helmet even if it's too big. If it's too small, you can't wear it, then you can't wear it. But if you can get it on your head and it's a bit too large, you're going to wear it because it's better to have protection on your head than not have protection on your head. So, and there's that. Don't know why I did that, but I just did. But what do you think? Now this is quite a generic helmet because great and wonderful host and one of my best friends, well he's my best friend in life. And when I do get married, Eirik, you can be my best man, which I've already asked him, has the same helmet. So you do see this helmet for sale on eBay quite often because the mass manufacturer, I couldn't really say that then. I'm blaming the helmet. It was stopping my voice coming out of the woods. But yeah, I think it's very, very nice. And of course, you could always improve helmets. I wonder what it would look like to buy another one and have this section darkened and this section polished and bright and the metal colour. I think that would look awesome. You know, a good dark section of the helmet, and then this being bright metal would look amazing. And you could achieve that by two methods. You could heat it up, which would probably knacker the leather inside, or you could cheat and use gum blue. And gum blue is just a chemical. You have a very highly polished surface, so you're going to have to polish the helmet beforehand, and then you just go over, you put some gum blue on a cloth, you just wipe it over and it blues up the helmet. Of course, the Vikings and the Saxons didn't have such chemicals, so in the manufacturing stage, if you wanted a dark helmet, and the reason why you do that is because it prevents rust. You can do it through heat. That's how they would have done it. And again, that is a skill to get a helmet blued up to the right level. Of course, another way you could do it is with a torch. You could get a torch on it and go around and heat it up with a torch, you know, oxyacetylene or whatever it's called. I forget now. I can't remember everything on the channel. So there's this helmet. And what do you think? I mean, despite it, I mean, if I did the strap a bit tighter, and it will sit on my head even better, and it won't be too bad for going into battle. And I definitely prefer this one over the last helmet we've just been wearing on my head. So let's move on now to the next helmet, because I surely agree, this is a fascinating subject. So lastly, we come to this helmet here, which is a little bit later than the other two, and could be described as late Viking or even Norman. And this is one of the first helmets I bought of my old and late friend Tetto Sagers. In fact, I can remember paying around about £20 for this helmet. And you can see here there's a big nasty dent when we were doing some combat training, and one of those few occasions that legend Tirkir was allowed to use a spear, and we had a load of branches and sticks to make a barrier, and he was flicking these branches out with his spear to get them out of the way so men could charge through. And he kind of flicked a branch and it flicked forward and it flew at my head. It was about 2 inches thick and hit me right bang on the head and gave me a bit of concussion. And ever since then, this dent here has been there. So I called it the dent of Tirkir. And thank the gods that day I was wearing a helmet, because it would have been my head dented and not me. But let's try this helmet on and let's talk about it in a little bit more detail. Because again, I think it's a fascinating helmet. And again, this is an unscripted video. This is one of those popular videos now where it's got that raw feel and that genuine feel to it. So let's try the helmet on. So here we are with the helmet in my hand, in my conservatory. You can see the front and the back. I like the fact that it's got brass rivets and iron rivets. The brass rivets will probably be keeping on the structure on the inside, which you can't see. There's a leather structure on the inside, but at some point in the past I decided to upgrade it by putting some nice fur, I think this is rabbit fur, and some nice wool to kind of pack it out. And I kind of made it sit a little bit too high on my head doing this, and I'll demonstrate this by putting it on. Again, you've got a chin strap, and this one's got a slightly different method than a buckle. It's just got a split, and it's just got a bead on the end, and it kind of wraps itself round, and I'll demonstrate that next. And I do love a good helmet. So if I was going to go back into reenactment and use this as a regular helmet, I would probably think about taking out this inside again and just going straight back to the pure leather, because I made it slightly tight on my head, which is why I'm trying to force it on. And again, with this different chin strap method, it's basically you just put it tight. In this case it broke off because the leather's brittle. There's another job for Braggy to do. Oh dear, live on camera. So it's okay because these things happen, and I've had this helmet for 20 years. Don't worry, I'm going to adjust that and put it on later on. Didn't expect that to happen on camera. That fits really nice on my head, and you can see I could actually go headbanging in a nightclub in this helmet and it wouldn't go anywhere. So it's really nicely firm on my head. In fact, the level of it with my eyebrows and the level on my nose is not far from perfect. It just needs to sit probably a ½ inch lower, or 15 millimetres, not 15 centimetres, because that'll be down there. And then I have no head. So, side view for you, other side view. And again, the reason why it's got a different design to this one, because, well, it's kind of slightly the same design, because it's not round like the early helmets were, because when you got hit by a blade, they would have dug in. The idea of having this kind of a taper is a blade would slide down your helmet rather than dig in. And again, it just shows the development of helmets and how they progressed from, you know, the 8th century up into the 11th century. I said you could wear this for an Anglo-Saxon, you could wear this for a Viking, and you could wear this for a Norman, and that'll be fine. Whether it needs a better chin strap, I don't know, because at the moment it works until I just break the bit of bead off, but I can adjust that with some scissors and put it back on again. That's not a problem, or even sew a bit of leather on. But again, it's a very, very nice helmet. But what do you think? Which of these three helmets have you enjoyed the most watching on camera? I'd love to know in the comments. And if you don't want to leave a long comment or say hello, you just leave me a helmet emoji, a beer emoji, or a good old emoji of an axe and a shield, because that's also a way you can interact on the channel. And before I go, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a funny story, what not long happened. So, I was upstairs, I'm watching a film at the moment called Beneath the Waves, a World War II film about blowing up the Tirpitz battleship. I had a phone call from the careers advice people, because I'm currently in a part-time job and I'm looking for a better job, more full-time. And I had a very interesting and fascinating chat with this guy. I can't remember his name, but I just like to say hello. And he gave me a wonderful compliment, which is why I'm telling you this little story. So we're on this phone, I told him about a channel, so we got talking about history. I said, oh, I've just been watching a World War II film, relaxing, but he said to me at the very beginning, oh, you're operating machinery or driving a car. And I said, oh no mate, I'm watching a World War II film. I said, oh right, which one was it? I said, oh, I believe the Waves. If you've not seen it, I recommend it. It's on YouTube. And he said, oh, my granddad was in the Navy. Oh, I said, awesome. And we got talking about that. And we got talking about AI as well, because he asked how they could improve the service. And I said, well, perhaps you can incorporate AI in the future, because it's getting better and better, and that may also aid people. And they gave me this wonderful compliment, which I'm going to tell you about now. He said, I've been doing this job for 2 years. He said, I've talked to over 1,300 people. And by far, you're the most interesting person I have ever spoken to on this job. So I just want to say thank you for such a compliment. And I'm a fascinating, interesting person. And going for a beer with me is a wonderful experience, because the subjects we can talk about in depth is just fascinating. And I can pretty much talk about most subjects. So I thought I'd just give you that bit of snippet there, because I found that to be fascinating. So I do a side view in the helmet. And again, if you're new to Northworthy, if you're new to the channel, then there's a few things you'll get out of this channel. You'll be entertained, you'll learn something, and you'll be part of the journey of Northworthy. So please subscribe. And from me, from Braggy, in my modern clothes, modern t-shirt, it's a goodbye from me. It's a goodbye. And I'll see you in the next video. Filmed on a Thursday. So hail Thor!